This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
This is Tom Gibbous, the voice of Shikamaru Nara from Naruto, and you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, and it's not a drag.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course, so my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's ACMG. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games that come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live.
Welcome to the journal of my life that covers all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Folks, welcome back. I feel like I haven't done a Prime Show in so long. I did 3 weeks of Select Start video game podcast, and just a lot of things has been going on in terms of just the holiday season. It is the season, and, you know, there's going to be a lot going on. Like I said, there's going to be a little bit of off and on, you know, with podcasts as we go into the holiday season, especially with everything going on this holiday season. So, you know, if I could get one in, that's fine. You know, it depends on the news too. A lot of the news sometimes isn't newsworthy, and I don't also have any topics to talk about, but I may have some stuff to talk about in the coming weeks. But like I said, because of the holiday, it's going to, you know, die down just a little bit, going to dilute in terms of episodes. So, but it will always be at least one episode a week, you know, as we go on. And there's a lot going on in the gaming world, especially. And speaking of gaming, I had some unfortunate news that I have to report in regards to whether I got a PlayStation 5. I am still without a PlayStation 5, much like many others, apparently. There's only a few who got the golden ticket, the proverbial golden ticket, if you will. And I was not one of them. And one of the reasons being is because this morning, if you're listening to this, I'm recording this on Sunday, the 22nd. So basically, Best Buy, who I just brought a TV from, a really great TV, a phenomenal TV, that Samsung LED 4K, beautiful. Did a good job. Love the TV. Thought they did great. In terms of this PlayStation 5 deal and their restocking, they decided that they were not going to tell their customers, the consumer base, the gaming community, as to when these things will restock. All we know from word that we got out from online sites and everything that are keeping close with this, is that they were going to sell some more units on the 22nd, which is today. Didn't say what time. So I'm thinking there's a possibility, and I hate this because it's so random, random and somewhat unfair to some extent. They don't tell you what time it is, and I stayed up last night till midnight, until 1 a.m., just in hopes that they may actually, put it in. And this is one of the same cases. This is what happened last time. Unbeknownst to me and many others, they sold this thing at a really crazy time on all these sites not giving a fair chance for people to actually prep possibly actually, I should say, get a console. So what happens is I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, tell my wife I'm going to, come in and check out what's going on, see what happens. I knew that there was a possibility that they could have started doing stuff now. Well, in fact, I was kind of right, because they did this, and they did it at 5 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday. I can possibly maybe get if it was on a regular business day, because some people do have to wake up, but not for that. They got to wake up to get their asses up to work and get started. Now, granted, I'm thinking pre-COVID, because like everybody, a lot of people work at home now. And normally when you have to get up to get on the road and go to work, you got to wake up at 5 a.m. or something like that to get up and, get prepped. Now you just get up and go to your computer. But, even still, I understand if that was a business day, but this is a Sunday at 5 a.m. and with no real alerts as to when they're selling this. And shout out to all the Twitter accounts that, do get shout out when they do it. But the majority of people are not going to be up at 5 a.m. So with that said, I'm not mad. I'm not mad, because I do recognize what they're doing as far as the way that they're marketing this, the way that they're putting it all. This is all to create hype and hysteria for this console. And the more hype and hysteria that it is for this console, the more acknowledgement that it becomes, the more it tweets, the more, and this is all a ploy to get noticed and to get, and kudos to them, because it is working. You got people who are falling for this. You got people who are, jumping on it. And you also got people who are buying and selling these things for high prices too. And to that, I'm like, no, I don't want it that bad. I'm not buying a PlayStation for $1,000. I'm not spending any more than it is worth. It is not that deep that you have to. And here's the deal. The only reason why I see people actually wanting to buy a PlayStation 5 that bad to the point that they're going to buy an upsell version of it, it's not even an import. I can understand that if it was a Japanese import, like back in the day, I bought the Japanese Dreamcast because and there were some substantial reasons for it. There were some significant reasons for it. I brought that because it was different from the one in the US. You won't be able to play games in the US. You will only be able to play games in Japan, and they were Japanese games that were available only to them, that you may never see the light of day. That's a great reason. This, no. You're going to play not only the same games that everybody else is playing, but you're going to play games that are already also on the PlayStation 4. A lot of the games that are available now are PlayStation 4 games that can be upgradable to the PlayStation 5. So what you're doing is basically you're not playing anything new in terms of game content for the PlayStation 5. You're playing games that will have faster downloading speed, that may have an upgrade in graphics, from a cosmetic standpoint. But honestly, that's, to me, is not enough to really go out of my way to actually, jump in and get it, or rush to get, at least. I want it, definitely, without a doubt. Money's in the bank. It'll be there. It's waiting. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. It's not that deep from that aspect. And I had to really ask this question. I had to go in and ask this question, in the A.C.M.G Facebook group. I even posted a little gif of Issa Rae from Insecure on there. And I asked the question, like, who is really the biggest loser here? In terms of like having possession of this or wanting to get this new console. Now I also add the Xbox Series X to this as well. And who is the biggest loser? Is it the one who sells the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S for a higher price? When they get one for themselves and they buy another one and just to sell it on eBay or whatever for a higher price? Is it the one who buys the game console for a higher price? Or is it the person who doesn't care about the hype and is patient enough to wait it out? Got a few people this morning that chimed in. My man Phil Chu basically said on the A.C.M.G Facebook group, said, the one who buys the consoles for a higher price. I can't be mad at someone taking advantage of an opportunity. The retailers really suck because they should have given to the next day on turn on pre-orders. Yeah, I agree with that, and I absolutely agree with that. To at least give folks a chance, I absolutely agree with that. And you know what? The irony of this, as he says that, the irony of this is that I was actually going to suggest to go to Best Buy to get this console, but the way that they handle these situations, it's turning me off. I believe the PlayStation 4 I got from Best Buy when it first came out, and I did get it like after the hype was over for the PlayStation 4 back then, and I got one. When everybody, I think, got a chance to get their PlayStation 4, I ended up getting it after the hype. So I'm doing the same thing this time, that I did the last time. Same with the Nintendo Switch. I think I waited until everybody was down. Like, it's just like eventually everybody will get in this, and that will be that. Like, just for bragging rights and all this stuff, nah. But I feel like I find myself, the irony of it, I was trying to avoid going to this Walmart because, it's Walmart. Regardless of the great sales, there's always a lot of havoc, but it looks like that there's a huge possibility that I may get it from there. For one thing, they tell you that when they're going to do pre-orders, and two, they tell you the time. They at least have the consideration. They give you the consideration to get a chance to buy it. Even if you lose out, you knew what time it was, you knew what day it was, and you just wasn't quick enough. That's fine, but at least give us an opportunity, a fighting chance to do it, and I respect. And if it turns out that I get it from Walmart, then so be it. So, but I definitely agree with Phil on this. He said a lot of hardcore gamers got shut out. Yes, I'm one of them, which is bad because hardcore gamers are the reason these things sell in the first place. People saying paying $1,000 for a system for their 6-year-olds hurt the industry overall, and they suck. That's funny. Now, he brings a very valid point. He absolutely brings a valid point to that, and he hasn't heard about the Best Buy situation too. That kind of plays into it as well. But I told him that. But here's my thing with that too, and it's crazy because I told him basically one can argue that buying an extra console just to try and upsell someone who is naive, gullible, and desperate to buy a console right now that will be commonly stocked in the course of a month or two. Like at this point, like you'll be able to buy like as many as possible within a couple months. So like this is why I'm not really too mad about it. And there's no reason to be the first or one of the early ones to get it. Like people are so entranced with the idea of getting it before Christmas time to get that satisfaction. I'm not really, because I understand what's kind of going on here in the sense of how they are marketing this and how they want people to feel. They want having the people to feel that feel-good moment or feel like they're a part of something special. In the course of 2 or 3 months, everybody's going to be a part of that special thing. And it's not going to be that special as much as it is because it's like... And then even still, when I get it, it's like... Or when other people finally get it, too, it's like, what do we miss? What do we miss out on that we're not going to be able to do when we finally get it? Nothing. That's just commonly it. So like I said, you got the people who are gonna buy those $1,000 eBay priced consoles, like naive, gullible, and desperate to buy a console that is commonly stocked in a course of a month or two just so they can have one shred of acceptance from their friends and peers. And then as I typed that, I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, you know what, Phil? You may be right on this. You may be right on that subject. It really is. It's like, it's not that bad. If you're buying it because you want to play it and you want a whole new experience, that's fine. But guess what? The new experiences really won't be until 2021. And by that time, I think majority of gamers will already have it by then. So there is really, really no rush. I want to say that there really is no rush, but also you shouldn't get really pissed off if you don't get it now. Or even never. Because, like, here's the thing. Just be glad you have the money to be able to get it. Be grateful that you have the money to get, especially with everything going on in 2020, because there are people who cannot get it because they lost their jobs and they lost the opportunities and even worse, there are gamers out there who are probably not even around because they died of COVID, for God's sake. I mean, it's been a bad year. And of course, this is one of the also reasons why I am not really mad about getting it right now. I was talking with my man Craig Holland, my dude, one of the coolest dudes on the A.C.M.G group. Kind of a friend of the family too, in a sense. He actually is pretty much, but he's hardcore. He stays up at night. He gets these. He's like a night owl, as he calls himself, and he gets these deals and all the stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm chill. I'm chill with this. But here's the thing. He pointed out something is the reason why I'm really not mad about getting it, because he looks out for his family and friends, and he said one of them had a rough stretch this year, and so he wanted to look out for him, and that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So he went out of his way to try to make sure that the dude got a PlayStation 5, and that's part of the reason why I'm not really mad about getting a PlayStation 5 right now. Like I'm not that entitled. I don't feel that I'm entitled to really have to have it right now, and I don't feel butthurt if I don't have it when everybody else does. Because I'm not gonna be any more popular. It's not gonna get me any more laid or paid than I am. I'm not gonna be at the top of the food chain just because I don't have it right now. That's the misconception. That's the illusion that's being put out there right now. Is that like you're among the most like it's really a high school train of thought when you really think about it. It's like that high school mentality we never really got out of. It's still there for people who are like 40 and up. But, when I thought about it, 2020 has been a cluster of a year for a lot of people. In terms of, the COVID, the coronavirus, in terms of racial inequality and issues of that, in terms of politics, in terms of voting and all that. It's been a rough, hellacious year. And as we go through that, and I'm thinking of this right now, even right now, and I'm looking in my office of all the things that I have done this year, and I've been privy to, and it's been afforded to me. Like this year was supposed to be an interesting year for when it came to like me doing a lot of things with ReedPop and the guests and everything. Well, ReedPop didn't happen because COVID and stuff like that happened, and unfortunately, ReedPop is going through their little situations and issues right now too. And it's been bad for everybody. It's been bad for everybody in one way or another. And even for me myself, economy wise, it's been crazy. But I will say that throughout 2020, I have had a hell of a year in terms of like what I was able to do and accomplish with this group, with the podcast and everything. I have been blessed with that. The people that I were able to get on, I've gotten more people this year on this show, more guests on this show, more known guests on this show than I've ever had in all the years that I've done this. And I cannot be. Yeah, I'm friends with people that I'm friends with people who are most people are fans of. I'm grateful for that. I'm really blessed for that, and the opportunities that I had here is just been insane. So I figure there are people out there who don't get these opportunities or aren't afforded these opportunities or been through a lot of hell this year and some point of this year. if that means getting the opportunity to get their hands on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series S, and it could be the only thing that really turns this year around for them, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad because I'm not the first one to get it. Because it might actually affect people better than me. Like, if I get it at this point, I have it and I enjoy it. But for somebody else, it's like their years probably went through a lot of hell. And as a gamer, getting this will probably put, a better perspective of their life for at least, a few moments, for the season. I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that at all. So, I am more appreciative of this year more than anything. And if I can't get it right now, then, that's fine. I'm not entitled to have everything I want. I can't have it all. And yet I am blessed with what I have right now and what I've been able to have. So eventually it will come, but, time. It's just about time, people. So, man, we got a show today. I digress from all of that. We still got some video game news to talk about, and we still got some other things to talk about. One of our most iconic shows is back on Hulu, and we're going to talk about that as well. That'd be Animaniacs. We got all that and much more. So, folks, let's not waste any time. Let's find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
And now, it's time to find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
All right, so before I even get down to what I wrote in my notes, I want to let people know, especially for people my age, in the 40s, who actually got HBO Max and used to rock Saturday morning cartoons back in the day, who don't own the Boomerang Network. Apparently, if you dig deep enough, you'll find some very interesting things in HBO Max's library. For instance, the Jetsons, the Flintstones, let me see what else here. Josie and the Pussycats, Josie in Outer Space, the Smurfs are all hidden inside of those deals. So if you got kids and you want them to really enjoy some old school classic Saturday morning cartoons that we all grew up with, all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. I haven't seen the Laugh Olympics and all that stuff yet, but I'm, if that's in there, who knows what else is in there. But yeah, go in and dig deep, because if you want your kids to see what good quality cartoons were, they're all in there. They're all in there. It's awesome. Well, I can't say the same thing for the Flintstones, because I watched a few Flintstone episodes the other day, and there's some really, really outdated things in here right now that will be really kind of questionable in today, especially involving how women are depicted. And it is prehistoric times, and it is Paleolithic times, I guess, but some things you might have to explain to your kids, especially if you have daughters in there. So let's just be glad that they don't have the old commercials back then with the cigarettes, with the cigarette ads in there, because those are classic. Trust me. But I digress. We got some news to talk about, including some gaming news right now. This is what I missed out on talking about on this past episode of Select Start, because it came out on that day, and as I was recording that episode, it didn't exactly premiere until I think during or after the fact of me doing that episode. So just want to give a little bit of thoughts on the Avengers War Room announcement of Kate Bishop expansion. So the first expansion, which if I'm correct, they were supposed to come out with this quite a while ago, but they were still fixing a lot of bugs and issues with the game, which is very unfortunate. I mean, the whole game thing, man, it's just so bad. It is so bad with that game, and especially while Spider-Man Miles Morales came out and really, really made them look so bad in so many ways, because they came out with a game that we wanted in terms of like features and just story. Well, I can't knock Avengers story. The story mode is hot. It's the fact that you can't replay the story mode. And they never intended for you to replay this story mode. And now they're finding a way for you to replay the story mode. It should have been in there from the get-go, just like it was in Miles Morales, just like it was in Kamen Rider and many other games that I played after the fact, after reviewing that game. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing that they're trying to, sweep it under the rug of what they've done. But they finally announced that Kate Bishop is coming out, I believe, the early December 8th or 9th. It's coming out. It looks great. It looks great. The Kate Bishop expansion is great. Fortunately, they do not have the game upgradable to be optimized for the PlayStation 5 just yet. That's another problem. That is another issue right there. So it'll probably load faster, but it's not going to have the same thing that, Insomniac did. Insomniac came in with this thing already prepared for PlayStation 5. This makes Square Enix look so bad, and Crystal Dynamics even more look bad, because they just, you have a major franchise in your hands, and you are failing miserably with how you're prepping things and how you're doing things. With that said, the Kate Bishop expansion looks great. I like the story that's going on. She's looking for Hawkeye because he's been missing for yada yada. They got it. They're playing right after the events of the story mode. At this point, I almost forget what the story mode is because I have not played it. I've played Miles Morales like twice so far. Especially thanks to their New Game Plus feature that was in there day one. So one of the reasons why I haven't really been in Avengers lately is because you can't really do anything in there but play the same modes and everything. And it's like, why would anybody want to do that? Why did they try to even make it? This is part of the problems with a lot of these companies today, is that they don't treat, they insult the intelligence of their fan base. And then the same thing that Crystal Dynamics is doing is the same type of practice that WWE does and 2K Games does. And it's so insulting to us, as if we don't know what's going on. It's very transparent, and they're just trying to sweep it under the rug. To me, that's disrespectful in a lot of ways. EA as well, I'll throw them in there too. But Kate is going to have a bunch of really cool, moves. She has a lot of tech moves that allows her to do some teleporting. She does the bow and arrow. She's an archer, much like Hawkeye will be, and it's pretty good. And then they also announced Hawkeye will be the next one after that. A lot of fans are not happy with this because they want Spider-Man. 2, they also want Black Panther. And for some reason, we didn't get the Black Panther announcement yet. And they claimed that they were going to do that when Chadwick Boseman passed away, but they were going to opt out of doing it. And it's been a few months past since his actual, passing. And I know that they're doing something different with the Black Panther character. So I think most people are aware of this. So I don't understand why I don't know. I know that I've given up on that game quite a while ago. I probably won't play the game until the expansion comes out. And if they, and hopefully by that time they'll have that New Game Plus feature that they claim that they're going to do. So we'll see. But it's there, and unfortunately, I'm not excited at all. It looks great. It looks really good. I'm just, at this point, it's a little bit too little too late. It really is. Like, whenever I want to really play a really great Marvel game that actually means something that matters, it's going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales. Plain and simple. So, moving on from that, we're going back to HBO Max because we got some big news, of course. And, a lot of because of COVID, a lot of movies have been transitioned into rather streaming networks or immediately down for pay-per-view. And the latest one, the biggest one, I should say, announced is Wonder Woman 84, which is coming to theaters and HBO Max on the same day. And that day, ladies and gentlemen, is Christmas. What better way to actually celebrate that holiday than to watch a brand new possibly awesome sequel to a really awesome movie that was Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins did a great job on the first one. I'm looking forward to seeing what she does on the second. And it's on Christmas Day. If you're a subscriber to HBO Max, you will be able to watch this for free. If you are not, I believe they have a sort of like Disney Plus. They have a premiere type of fee that you could pay for. I think it's like $30 to pay for it, which is honestly, it's still worth it. It may still be worth it. You know, had the family along to watch it, and they got to make money somehow. So it's unfortunate that we can't see it in theaters, and I really would like to see it in theaters, but I would like for us to all get our acts together so we can go back out and make that happen. I'm seeing on the news or on Twitter that, you know, people in Los Angeles are protesting the curfew. Why are we acting like such freaking kids? And the more we act up, the more this is not going to happen. Like, I've said it before. I've ranted about this before on social media about how we are so entitled right now about how things are, and we're not listening to, you know, the professionals and the scientists out there. And now it's just basically we're in a country right now where the uncivilized and uneducated is trying to wreak havoc in this world. And, you know, and because of it, it's getting worse. People are dying more, and, you know, things are happening. And the more this happens, the more it messes up the economy, the more it messes up everything else, because people are too selfish to want to care about others' well-being. I mean, you could say this is a plus, but at the same time, it's in a lot of ways, it's not. Not for the movie industry, not for the movie theaters out there who aren't able to get it. Like, our theater has been out for the count for like quite some time. It's just sad. It's just absolutely sad. So, but nonetheless, you'll be able to enjoy this in the safety of your own home on Christmas Day. So enjoy it, and guarantee we're going to be celebrating that and reviewing that when it comes out during Christmas Day. So get ready for it. It looks like it's going to be awesome. They got a new trailer out on HBO Max too, with it on there too. So we finally get to see what Cheetah looks like and such. So I'm ready for it. It looks like it's going to be awesome. Thoughts on the arrival of the brand new Animaniacs. Steven Spielberg is back in all of its glory, and WB brought it back onto Hulu. Hulu brought the rights to it. Let me tell you, the 13-episode series came back with a vengeance. I binge like hell watching all of it, and it is... Oh my God, Animaniacs is the truth, man. I so enjoyed every bit of it, and it never missed a beat. It absolutely never missed a beat here. Like I said, there's 13 episodes. If you haven't checked it out, it came out Friday, premiered Friday, and all of the original voices from the show is actually reprising their roles, I should say, in the show. And they, just like it did before, it doesn't hold back. It touches on a lot of a lot of subjects pertaining to pop culture and politics, and they are fantastic. I love the first episode. The first episode brings out a really big statement. It starts with a spoof from Jurassic Park. Has a Jeff Goldblum looking guy in there. Steven Spielberg's there, and the Warners come back from after all these years, but they're coming back 20-some years. I think it was like 20-some years after the original series went down, and they don't hide from anything. They talk about all the things that has happened since then. There's even one little section where they meet the new CEO of Warner Brothers, which is now a woman of color taking over as CEO, not the old, white guy that used to be there. And she has a tablet. She's more up to date, and they think a tablet. Yakko and Wacko thinks a tablet is actually something that you swallow like a pill. So they swallowed the iPad or whatever it was in there, and somehow, some way, that allowed Yakko to actually get access to the internet in his head, and he gets all of these images in his head. And one of the images, if you really pause it, you see, and he's in total he's in total fright. One of the images that you see, if you pause it quick enough, is of Kanye and Trump, and that really tells you where they're going with this series. And that's exactly what they do all through the series. These guys wind up talking about, they poke fun at Trump a lot in this series. So if you're a Republican, or if you're a Trump supporter, or even if you're a fan of Fox News, or a anchor person of Fox News who are a fan of Animaniacs, I really doubt you're going to be a fan of this series now, because they really take it to you, man. If you really were a fan and you're voting for, if you're a Trump supporter or a Republican, you're not going to like this show. I tell you that, because they go hard. They go really hard, and still somehow make it subtly entertaining for kids. They don't go, it's not like Family Guy where they just go so in your face. There's a ton of innuendos in here, which is common to what they do. It's very common to what Warner Brothers and Animaniacs do, is that wink wink type of thing, but it's a little less subtle than it was before. But they do it in such a classy way. Whereas like if you watch Family Guy, they just put it right in your face and slap you with it. Here, it's like, we want it to be kid friendly, but you also get the point. There's a lot of really cool scenes where Dot is talking about female empowerment in here. It's some really awesome things in here. There's even a episode where Kanye, they poke fun at Kanye and everything that he's going through and done in terms of like his ego. And it goes into a whole rap battle between him and Yakko and everything. You gotta see it if you haven't seen this yet. And of course, Pinky and the Brain is back, and they also go and do some things as well, touch on some situations involving, what's going on in today's society. And first of all, the show looks fantastic. Seeing the characters in HD with the same type of animation, but it looks clear. The line work looks thinner than it was before, and it absolutely does not miss a beat at all. They've done a great job. One episode that I do absolutely love, if you're always wondering, if you watch the show and loved all the characters in there, you notice that a lot of the characters from before isn't on here as well, like Slappy the Squirrel and Chicken Boo and the God Pigeons or whatever are not in here. Well, they got an episode that really talks about that and covers that, and they really, really do focus on this, and they don't shy away from anything. This is absolutely, they've never stirred away from any, and funnier, the even funny part, they poke fun at themselves, because it is a Warner Brothers product. And I keep thinking, like, they make fun of Fox a lot in here, too. And I forgot, like, they're no longer with Fox. This is not a Fox brand. And Fox is now owned by Disney anyway. So they can kind of take liberties with Fox, too, much like Family Guy does. But it's amazing what they do. But they poke fun at Warner Brothers and DC as well. There's one part in there where they make fun of Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. It's such a funny way. It's just they're awesome. Even the first episode really kind of plays on the fact that why are they of them coming back out as a reboot, and how Hollywood has only come out with unoriginal concepts, and just instead of coming out with original concepts and ideas and intellectual properties, they're coming out with just reboots of everything. But they also said they'll take the check at any time too. So I love this series. I highly recommend, if you're a fan of this series, which I know a ton of people our age is. They cater to the old school demographic, but they're also catering to the new age demographic too. So it's giving people a chance to understand why we love this so much, and the people who loved it in the past, it still has everything that we loved about it. So go out of your way, check it out. This is an awesome, awesome series. I hope that they keep going with this. It just goes to show that, like, we needed this. We needed this right now. So, oh man. So, switching on to actually some disappointing, sad news in the world of DC, in the world of Greg Berlanti and the CW. Black Lightning. CW just announced, or actually, I forgot who announced it, but it was just announced. EW.com is where I got the source from, but it has been announced that Black Lightning will end after this season 4. So not only Supergirl is going to be ending, but Black Lightning is ending as well. The season will end, but it'll introduce a new spinoff. It is believed that it hasn't. I don't know how much this is confirmed, but it was been talks that a spinoff series based on the character Painkiller, played by actor Jordan Calloway, is going to be coming soon as well. So this is going to be interesting, but it's really sad news, and from what I understand, not everybody knew that this was going to end, and including one of the actresses, that would be China Ann McClain, who plays Lightning, the younger daughter of Cress Williams' character, Jefferson Pierce. She went on Instagram, very emotional and sad Instagram announcement, talking about how one, she was unaware that the show was going to end, but two, she was also announcing that she was originally going to be leaving the series anyway. Season 4 was going to be her last one because she was moving on. I know she's doing a lot of stuff with Tyler Perry. She's back. I believe she's back to do the House of Pain series again, with the original cast. So, which is like this modern day's Good Times in a sense. I used to watch that show at the first few seasons when she was younger, and I can't really watch it now because it's always something depressing about that show. It really is the modern day Good Times. But, she's back on the show on there. She probably has some other projects that she's going to be working on as well. But it just sounded like there was a lot going on behind the scenes as to the reason why she was leaving the series. But, it was just sad to hear that. It was really sad to hear. She was very emotional. And if you want to have a silver lining of this whole thing, is that they're ending. And a lot of people are saying cancel, which it could be the fact, but here's the thing. When they get to end with closure, to me, that's still a positive, because there are a lot of times that there are shows that end prematurely, and we don't get a chance to actually see I can name dozens of shows. Like recently, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing ended on the first season. We still don't know if they're going to do another season of that show. They recently showed it on the CW, but we don't know to what extent, if they're going to greenlight it back on the CW, if Greg Berlanti is going to take it on for that network, or whoever's going to take it on for that network. I thought it was awesome. A lot of people who watched it on the DC Universe app thought it was awesome. They just didn't. It just felt that it didn't work. I mean, networks are crazy about stuff like this. I'll go again. Thundercats. The new Thundercats that I just talked about a while back, which is on Netflix now. The old Thundercats series and the newer one that we all loved that was on Cartoon Network ended on a cliffhanger. They just completely went cold turkey. We never got to see real closure of that. And that, to me, pissed me off. Well, at least they let them know that this is going to be the final season. And now they can rewrite things and kind of work it around it to the point that they can end it on a good note. I at least am happy with that. There's no way they can end this off on a cliffhanger. Along with Black Lightning coming, like I said before, is Supergirl, which was ending on after 6 seasons as well. Now, with the situation with Supergirl, if you guys know, that they were contracted for only 6 seasons. Melissa Benoit, I believe, was said to only sign for one for 6 seasons because she wanted to do other things as well. So after the fact, and they're gonna start off with the new Lois and Clark, or Superman and Lois series that'll be kind of taking the baton for this. So I'm disappointed in the sense of I really enjoy the series, but I am at least happy that they're going to do. And again, there are always times that you may not know. There are people who a lot of times kind of sign off on things as if they understand what's really going on behind the scenes. We never know what's going on behind the scenes and what these contracts are. For all we know, that they could have all had a 4-season contracted series with a possibility of an extension. It happens. We never really know. There's no unless you're in the know. I remember when I was attending the press conference, the press event with Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I asked him the question about that because one of the main questions. And by the way, if anybody's in our ACMG Facebook group, that video, that actual press video that I did with him is on there. It's if you go to the announcements page, and there you can also go on talktimelive.com, but it may be harder to. And sooner or later, I got to update the exclusives page to add those on to make it easier for people to find those. But you can find it on the announcements page because I never took it off, and easily you can scroll down and see all the video interviews I've had, and the press interview I had with Kevin Conroy is on there. But if you saw that, one of the questions I asked was that, whether he actually knew that he was going to eventually go on to do not only Batman the animated series, but also Justice League Unlimited and all these other things from this point on. Was that always been in the plans? And he said no. From day one, from the pilot, he only signed on to do the pilot. He only contracted to do the pilot. There was no guarantees, and he emphasized on that there was no guarantees that there were going to be any type of situation involving him after the pilot. It was just a basic tryout, see how it goes. If they like him, they're going to extend him from there. They didn't know how well Mark Hamill was going to play into that as well. This apparently is a norm. So it's just one of these things that, like, not everybody's going to try to assume like they understand, and especially those who are not really in the industry. They don't have a SAG-AFTRA membership or whatever. But I know from learning from the people that I interview in here, that's how these things go. So I have a little bit of merit of understanding that, like, we really don't know what the hell's going on until we actually get a chance to know. So it's overall, nonetheless, it's really sad. It is really sad. I'm going to hate to see it go. It was really good. And it was good from a standpoint of not only showing representation, to us in the black community, but also really not shying away from some hard issues that they were covering in there. And it really had a absolutely insane vibe compared to that of The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, all of those. And it was awesome. So when you got a chance to see a different side of where they were living at, which was different from everybody else, it felt real in comparison. And somehow they managed to get Jefferson Pierce to be able to assimilate with the rest of the crew during Crisis on Infinite Earth, which turned out to be phenomenal. So, the misconceptions of being canceled and the series ending is totally different. And I kind of, am happy that at least that they're ending it. And to me, in that case, it's not really canceled. It's ending. There's a difference. If they would have told them, like, at the very end before they got it, like, at least now they can prepare for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to end it. But the other thing too is, it's not the end of the world in a sense. It is for those who actually have to find work now, but we can watch this stuff again. It's all on Hulu. We can always watch it again, revisit it. It's not like it's totally going away, and we can still celebrate all that they've done. I give you another example. Agent Carter. Haley Atwell did a phenomenal job with that show, and I'm still pissed off that I didn't really get the payoff of seeing her form S.H.I.E.L.D. We never got a chance to see that, but we at least got a chance to see her back with Steve at the end, at Endgame. So they at least kind of gave you somewhat of a payoff from that. But that was another series that I was really mad. All of the series from Netflix, a lot of that got cut off, except for Daredevil. I think Daredevil was the only one that really kind of didn't get cut off from his legs. I think I guess Jessica Jones kind of did too. Both Iron Fist and Luke Cage got their legs cut off before they ever got to walk to the finish line. So that's right there. I mean, at least be happy that they're ending that off, or given a chance to end that off right there. So More sad news, and the final news that I have for this segment is the death of Kirby Morrow. He's unfortunately passed away at the age of 47. His most notable roles was as Goku during the DBC Oceans dub. Trowa from... which is one of my favorite characters on Gundam Wing. Miroku, which is one of my favorite characters on Inuyasha. And he also plays Cyclops in X-Men Evolution, among other voices that he's done in there. He died at the age of 47, insanely young. We still don't know exactly what was his death by. He was a Canadian actor. And let me see if they actually have anything. Actor, dead. No, still, as of right now, still nothing has been said in regards to how he passed away. But, thoughts and prayers go out to him. He also played in Lego's Ninjago as well. It's really sad. He's also played in some live action shows too, from what I'm reading here. But nothing has been said as to the cause of death or whatever. But we, just another unfortunate, talented name among all of the names that we got a chance to see this year. It's just truly sad. This is one of the most kind of depressing things that we had this year, was the loss of a lot of great names that we all know and love throughout our lives. So thoughts and prayers, rest in peace, and thank you for all of the great talent that you've done over the years. You will be missed by many, definitely so. Folks, that will do it for what's new in the world of A.C.M.G. We're going to take a break, come back, and review New Mutants, the final X-Men movie from the Fox era. How did it fare? We'll find out right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Xavier Josiah, the host of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Gohan from Dragon Ball Super, and you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. Excuse me, Gohan, this is more of a narrator type thing. Okay. Just do it more like a next time on Talk Time Live. Next time on Talk Time Live. Don't quit your day job, Gohan.
Do it.
And now it's time for our talk topic of the week. Ready? Fight!
Folks, we are back with our talk topic of the week, and it is my review of the New Mutants. This is the final X-Men movie in the Fox era. And, there's a lot to talk about this movie because it went through a lot of hell to get to this point of us being able to watch it. It wasn't just COVID that really stopped. There was a lot of things that were holding this off from coming out. And COVID did not help this movie come out. And now that it's out, and the irony of it being that they are no longer doing X-Men movies because Fox was acquired by Disney. And Fox is doing away with everything that Fox has done with the franchise, and in talks of doing their own version to mold with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it is unfortunate that this movie came out, and we knew what it was. Josh Boone, who wrote and directed the movie, and co-wrote actually with Nate Lee, they knew what it was, and they just wanted to come out with this to show that they did work on it. They came out with it and what they were planning to do with it. And we just talked about this in the last segment when we talked about Black Lightning, how I am at least happy that they're able to end the series, because this one got cut off from the legs. Like many other, movies and TV shows did. If you watch this, if you had a chance to watch it, and you also watch X-Men Apocalypse, you do know that there's a tie between the two. So, and in the sense that, you know, there's a connection with that, and now it all makes sense where that tie-in was going to. Even though I was kind of mad that they now are focusing on Mr. Sinister after focusing on Apocalypse, because it was supposed to be in the comics. It was like Mr. Sinister came out before Apocalypse with that storyline, but you know, they did what they did. This is their universe. They're doing it the way that they want to do it. Well, it turns out, it really turns out that it wasn't to be the focus of the Dark Phoenix like they were, because I was wondering, like, okay, what happened with the situation involving the XS Corp situation? They just went all the way to the Dark Phoenix saga instead, and there was no mention of the XS Corp. Well, that answers the question with this movie, because it was based upon this movie. So we got to see how everything fell in that case. The New Mutants was supposed to be action horror. It was more action than horror. And if they, you know, when it comes to trying to, did they successfully execute a horror type of feel? Depends on the person. For me, I didn't feel like there was horror elements in there, but it didn't scare me nonetheless. The trailer, when it came out, had me thinking this was going to be a very scary type of situation, which was strange for me, because I used to read the comics back in the day, and there was no horror elements in there. But I kind of see what they were doing in that sense. When I see horror, I guess it means, yeah, you're supposed to be scared, but I wasn't really scared. Or they were going to kill somebody, or there's going to be some mass murders or stuff like that. That stuff scares the hell out of me. This didn't feel that in that necessarily. I mean, it was more CGI-based fright than anything, but it wasn't enough. The other thing I wanted to focus on was the character development, because as a fan of the original comic books in the 90s, I used to read the New Mutants, and I read them all the way up, leading up to their transition to the X-Force squad when they were teaming up with Cable, when Cable took over. And that's what I was seeing how this was going to be, because, you know, we saw Cable in Deadpool 2, and somehow there was supposed to be some type of a connection between the two. Well, of course, again, because of the acquisition of Disney, that's not going to happen. And if any movies that are going to possibly transition into the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the Fox universe, it's probably going to be Deadpool. Deadpool 2 was so written, it was geniusly written, because they connected the way that when they broke the fourth wall, they did so by also mentioning the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the X-Men universe. So they can, the way that it was written, it can easily tie in to anything that went on during that time. I think that was genius. So whether they'll do it or not, that's a whole nother thing. But I guarantee you, unfortunately, New Mutants is not going to be one of them, because the way that they wrote this, that there was supposed to be a continuation to this, and it's not. And it looks like we'll possibly never see Mr. Sinister at this point. Like, you can't even say that this is a spoiler, because we all know that nothing is going to come of this. And that's the sad reality of it. So my biggest focus to me, was this successful in a sense of getting me to enjoy the characters? Did the characters come off anywhere like what I would imagine they would be from the comics? And to that respect, I'm going to say yes, they did. I think the strong point of this movie was indeed the characters. You know, I read the books when Rain Sinclair was on there, Ileana Rasputin, Sam Gertrude as Cannonball, Danny Moonstar, of course, is in here, and Robert DaCosta, of course, the one and only Sunspot. You know, all of these characters I was fans of in this. And did they feel like the characters that I read? For me, I felt like they did. I think what is her name? Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones. I thought she did a great job as Rain Sinclair, who is Wolfbane, one of my favorites of the. You know, I love the New Mutants a lot. I really love the characters. I love that they were struggling teenagers trying to find their way. You know, as they're maturing into mutants, and the X-Men was supposed to be the ones helping them. And I love the fact that in this movie, from a story standpoint, that they were made to believe that they were being trained to work with the X-Men. And that wasn't the case, as we figure out later on in the series that they learn, is that they're not in there for the X-Men. They're in for a whole nother thing. So, Anya Taylor-Joy, who we all know from Split, from Glass, and recently from the Netflix series that she is in. I forgot the name of the. Is it Netflix? I think it is Netflix. What is it? The Queen's Gambit. You know, it's the TV miniseries, which has gotten a lot of great reviews on. So I knew when I saw her in Split and Glass that she was going to end up being somewhere. You know, she was going to move on very successfully from there. She has. I thought she played a pretty good, like, Ileana Rasputin, who is the younger sister, I should say, of Peter Rasputin, aka Colossus, who we've seen on the X-Men series, and of course, better seen on the Deadpool series. So, I really enjoyed her. You know, like, their performances were solid. Like, this whole movie to me was solid. The movie, like, the movie didn't blow me away, and all of it. It just basically it satisfied me. You know, it was very watchable. But the performances I thought was kind of more of the stronger point, because I believe, you know, Rain is Scottish. I thought she pulled it off pretty well for me. Ileana is Russian. I thought she pulled it off good enough for me. Sam Gertrude is kind of, you know, from the South Country. Played it off well for me. And this is the way I imagine him. Danny Moonstar also played well. Robert DaCosta played the cocky, very cocky, you know, and poignant dude. I thought he pulled it off very well. He played exactly the way Robert DaCosta is. He's a very smug, egotistical dude, pompous dude, kind of pretentious at times, but he's also a very rich dude. So I thought all the main roles of these guys played off really well in here. I felt like they did a great job playing these roles that I read through so long. It didn't feel like they didn't shy away from making their own deals. I felt they were very much in tune with the personas that I read in the books. So I thought they did good on that note. I honestly, this movie, I didn't see anything. When I watch a lot of movies based on movies, especially that's not done by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'll give a great example. Venom. I love Venom. The comics. I love Eddie Brock, the characters. I love their in between. Not once did I feel like Venom, the movie, was any way connected to what I read in the books, and it threw me off, and it disappointed me also. He was not to be an anti-hero by any stretch. He was nowhere near an anti-hero. He was a villain going after Spider-Man, hungry, bloodthirsty for Spider-Man, hatred of what Peter Parker has done to him in terms of like legitimacy in the media world. So I really couldn't connect to that movie. I connected more with this movie because they at least put in the effort of making each character feel exactly like the way you read them in the book. So to that, Josh Boone and Lee did a really good job doing that. Was it the best movie overall in execution? Did it blow me away in the way that the Avengers would do, or, you know, Spider-Man or Black Panther do? No, it did not. It didn't there by any stretch. It just didn't. But this one, I feel like it's a solid movie for me, but not a blowaway movie. But I thought if you put this compared to other X-Men movies, this was better than X3 for me. I know that is not really much to say. This was better than The Dark Phoenix. This was better than X-Men Wolverine. Not X-Men. No, X-Men Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine, I should say. This was one of the stronger X-Men movies that are out there. By the time, I think from the beginning, it kind of throws you off. But as you start gradually watching the movie, you may start liking it a little bit more if you go in, especially if you go in with an open mind, because that's what I did. I came in with an open mind on this, and I came in not jaded. And I think a lot of people do that when they watch movies, is that they have this, they already come in already with the mindset of hating this film or wanting to hate this film. You can't do that. You got to have an open mind sometimes. And when you do that, you kind of see things a little bit differently. Because if you go in with the already thought of hating a movie that you think is automatically going to fail, you're going to sabotage yourself to possibly finding something in there unique enough to like. And it doesn't have to be the best thing in the world to see, but it has to be solid at best. You know, not too good, not too bad, but just watchable, and things make sense. And I think they did a pretty good job setting things up. I thought the other characters, such as Dr. Reyes, played by Alice Braga, she did a good job playing her. And the thing with her character is that I knew she was not to be trusted from the get-go. First of all, she plays on the series Queen of the South. That is not a good... she plays a badass in there anyway, like a person that you don't trust anyway in that show. So like, why am I going to trust her in this? She plays not so much of a trusting person. And she did so here. It's like, I knew by the time this was ending, I'm like, we're going to find out what she's really about. You could tell that she's not really who she pertains to be. So, we'll see. And it turns out, yeah, she's not. And she'll get what she's asking for. But I like her also. I like her mutant ability too, because she has a mutant ability to project really strong force fields, so these kids can't go out anywhere. And the whole entire place is monitored. I thought what they did was pretty good. I don't think it was the best thing in the world overall. Like overall, like if you're coming in trying to think that this movie is going to be Oscar worthy or even dare I say, MCU worthy, I'm going to say now, don't get your hopes up like that. If you keep your expectations low, you might actually enjoy this a little bit better than you would. And that's what I did. And I think I enjoyed this a little bit better. Like if this ever comes on TV or whatever again, or watchable, like I don't think this is a DVD worthy movie to watch. I think this is a rent movie to watch, or if it's for a low price of $9.99 or something, like it might not be that bad, or if it comes on TV, it's worth watching. I thought they did a good job on this sense. And I think, to me, all the characters kind of look like the characters of the comic book. They really, especially Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Illyana Rasputin. I think that was the big draw for a lot of people, was that she at least looked like it, and the special effects and the CGI that they did for her really played to. By the way, I need to mention this too. I was going to be really, really pissed about this. Illyana is also associated with the dragon Lockheed. Throughout and I love what they did with this. Throughout the series, throughout the movie, she has this puppet of a dragon in her hand that she plays. And I think they did this on purpose to troll people, because they knew people like myself who read the books and like, where's Lockheed and why they are settling for this puppet. By the end of this movie, when things start to, when business start to pick up, they give us what we want. And it was awesome. I love what they did with this. I love how they made that happen. So I was not mad at the fact of what they did at the beginning, because it paid off really well, and we got to see Lockheed for real. So honestly, they gave us what we want in terms of appropriation and accuracy. I thought they did a pretty good job. I've seen movies do way worse that it didn't feel like the actual comic characters and the respects of the comic characters. We got to see everything. We got to see Sam do his cannonball explosion in flight. We got to see Robert DaCosta, burst off into some spot mode. We got to see Illyana have the gauntlet with the sword and her going into hell. We got to see Rain turn into a wolf and become Wolfbane and have all of, like, they didn't. If you put all the bullet points down of all of the things that you want to see from the New Mutants comic in the movie, it's actually been put in there, and I thought that they did a pretty good job with it. I don't know what else to say. It's a solid movie. It didn't, like I said, didn't blow me away. We didn't get to see Mr. Sinister, unfortunately, because they stopped it cold turkey. But, you know, if I got to give this a grade, I guess I could give this. It wasn't bad. It was much better. It was a much better movie than I thought it was going to be. And I would say for that, I would give it a B-, because I think a B- would be appropriate. B- in a sense of they kind of gave us what we want in terms of character development and in that case, in accuracy to the characters. I don't know if I would have went with the horror type of thing to go with it. I don't know. It was just a different feel. It didn't hurt it. It didn't help it either. But also the payoff, we're not going to get a payoff from this. But from this, we at least got them making a good attempt. This is almost like a glorified fan-made movie in a sense, because this does not really have any connection to anything. I don't even know if we're going to see these characters ever again. But it was, for what it was worth, it was a good movie. This could possibly, if people get an open mind, I think they'll enjoy it a little more. So I'd give this a B- at best. So there you go. If you haven't got a chance to check out this movie, go out of your way to check it out, but do so with an open mind. I think you might actually enjoy it if you don't try to compare it to everything else, but also if you don't sabotage your mindset going into it, you might actually enjoy it. I thought they did pretty good. I've seen worse comic book movies where it didn't feel like any of the comics that we had at all. Folks, that will do it for this edition of the Talk Time Live Prime Show. I want to thank all of our listeners, especially our new listeners who help and support this show. As of last week, episode of Select Start, it has actually superseded the amount of downloads that we had from our previous episode, which started making record-breaking numbers, and I can't thank everybody enough. I am more than thankful, especially given that this is the week of Thanksgiving. I am more than thankful. I am blessed to have all of you listen to me talk about all of the things that I venture through in the world of our favorite fandom. So thank you for that. And also give a happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there, and please enjoy the holiday, but also do it very responsibly and safely, and especially in terms of our elders and out there. I know we want to do things the way we normally do, but we have to be patient. We have to be responsible. We have to be adults. So please mask up, do everything safe, and keep everybody else safe. And, just be thankful for what you have this year more than ever in that respect. Next week, we will have a Talk Time Live Prime show, as I will be reviewing something that just came up on Disney Plus. Something that I feel like is very worthy. Messing up my words. Very worthy of talking about. Their 616 series just arrived, and the first episode alone is worth making a topic about, because they put together a really awesome documentary, a 1-hour documentary. I recommend everybody go out of your way and check it out. I posted it on the A.C.M.G Facebook group. Their first episode talks about the history of Japanese Spider-Man. If you have not watched Japanese Spider-Man, the Super Sentai series of Japanese Spider-Man, you have to go out of your way. I will talk about how I first came across this back in the day, and how I became a fan of this really campy, crazy series. Like, this series is the campy equivalent of the Adam West Batman, but a little bit more dramatic, less comedy. It wasn't attempted to be a comedy totally, but we saw it and we were like, what the hell is going on here? So they actually made an entire documentary out of it in a 1-hour part of their 616 series. And I will talk all about it, and you have to check this out. So that's going to be the subject next week, along with everything going on in the world of our favorite fandoms from that point. And maybe I'll have a PlayStation 5. I don't know. I don't care. I'll eventually get it. So we will see from there. And of course, When it comes to Select Start, there will be a new episode, possibly on Friday. Definitely more probably Friday than, of course, Thursday, because Thursday's Thanksgiving, so that's not happening. But we will have a new episode, and I will be reviewing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which I'm playing right now. So we'll be talking about that and other things that is going on in the world of gaming as well. So folks, again, thank you so very much. I am very grateful for you taking the time to be a part of the show and helping it grow. So if you want to check out this episode and all of our episode, don't miss a beat. Subscribe and download to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and of course Amazon Music. We're anywhere and everywhere you can find us in there. So A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live is everywhere you want it to be. You can also check out our episodes on TalkTimeLive.com, including our exclusive interviews with some of the finest in all of anime, comics, movies, and games. I mean, you name it. Actors, game developers, comic artists, producers from Marvel, Empower, I should say now as well. It just a slew of great, well-known names in the world of our favorite fandom. So please go out of your way to check it out. You could go to the exclusives page of TalkTimeLive.com, or you could type in TalkTimeLive.com/exclusives and enjoy all of it there. I can't. It's too many to name at this point. So we got over 50 interviews with some of the best out there. So go out of your way to check it out and enjoy. So folks, that will do it for me. This is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. So this is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live. We are out of here. Have a great week, and again, happy Thanksgiving to you all. Take care. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.